what's up? I am Steve Eckert, United States Marine and instructor of the project, and I have a very special guest here on our series of interviews with project graduates, spouses. I have Christina Meggison. Thank you for joining us today on this show.
Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to hearing from your perspective. We hear all the time from the graduates how awesome it was because it's all this manly shit they're doing and they're having all this camaraderie and all this brute force and masculinity and all this stuff. So I'm so excited to get on these interviews with the spouses, with the wives, to hear from your perspective and hear probably more of the real truth of what was going on behind the scenes before, during, and after the project. And now, even a year later, right? Ryan graduated now about a year later, as we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So let's go all the way back to the beginning when you first were introduced to the project, when you first heard about the project. And I know it's now a year ago, so I hope you can kind of recall this a little bit. What was your first reaction when he either showed you a video or told you about it and Ryan's like, hey, I think I might want to do this? How did that whole thing come about? How did he explain it to you, and what were your thoughts on it?
So he was like doing like listening to a lot of podcasts and YouTube stuff about like, self-growth and stuff like that. So he would send me links and send me stuff. And I remember clearly he sent me, one of the things I think off Instagram of you guys. And he was like, hey, this looks pretty cool. Like, I think I want to do it. And I was like, wow, that does look pretty cool. Like, what is it? And so he kind of looked more into it and, he explained it more to me. And I was like, that's awesome. It sounds great. You should do it. And then he said, not everyone gets in. So you have to, there's an application process. And then at the end, he kind of was like, and it's $12,000. So I was like, wow, that seems like a lot. So we talked about it and it was something he really wanted to do. And he said, let's do this. Let me just apply. He's like, I probably won't get in. Like, who knows? Like, let me just apply. And I was like, yeah, you know what? It is what it is. Apply. He actually got in. And when he did, we were both really excited. And, you can't tell someone not to do something to better themselves. So I was definitely worried. But I stuck with them and I encouraged them. And I just said, the one thing I'm going to tell you is if we're going to spend this money, if you quit, don't come home. Just don't come back home if you quit.
I like it. That's why he didn't quit.
I would keep reminding him but I was joking, but at the same time I was half serious. Like, you got to put 110% into it. And I don't want you to quit. Just suck it.
Or like 3/4 serious or 7/8 serious.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I remember it clearly. And then, he went from there. He was excited. And then I started getting excited the more he talked to you guys through the, interview process and through after he got accepted, all the stuff leading up to it. Like we were both kind of getting excited. It was almost like I was getting ready to do it too. It was kind of weird, but yeah, it was great. I didn't think there was an issue really.
That's freaking awesome, especially hearing the amount. So because what we encounter a lot, believe it or not, and it's awesome that he has such a freaking amazing, supportive wife like you are. You were just like, hell yeah, I can't hold you back from doing this, even though it's expensive. I can't hold you back from doing this because you want to go and better yourself. What do you think is the reason? And this might be a curveball question. What do you think is the reason that women, when their husband comes to them and shows them something like this and explains why they feel like they need this, and some men might even need it even more than Ryan, like they're feeling that they're stuck in a rut, they're feeling like they lost that spark, they're not feeling like the man they used to be. Like these are the things that we're told on calls with men, and then they go and present it to their wife, and they're really saying they need this for their manhood almost. They need it to become a better husband, a better father, a better entrepreneur, a better leader, learn more about their business and finances, get some business. They never had a mentor. They never had a positive male role model. And they tell all this like deep, really deep, dark stuff to their wives. And their wives are like, hell no, you're not doing it. And it's a huge, big fight. And then they come back and they tell us, you know what, I really need this, but my wife's not on board with it, so I'm not doing it. Why do you think it is that the wives have that reaction to that type of thing?
I think it's got to be a little bit of fear of the unknown, you know, when you're spending, you know, that's to some people, that's a huge amount of money. Some people, it's not that much amount of money. It depends on their situation, but I think it's the fear of the unknown. Like, what are you going to, for $12,000, like, what are you getting for that? Just a couple days. And I think what a lot of the project, like before Ryan started the project, I don't think he realized after he finished how much he would continue to get out of it. So, you know, when I told him, I said, you know, what if I told you I wanted to go to a spa for 3 days for $12,000? Would you be okay with that? Do you know what I mean? But it's not like that. I don't think the people who are applying know how much after you guys actually put in and keep the connection going and keep the learning and like raising that level going. So I think the fear of the unknown, you know, thinking it's just a couple days and not knowing what the outcome is going to be. Like, are you going to spend that money and then your husband quits? Because that's, you know, that's kind of not the best thing either, you know? So it's fear. Can he do it? Do you think he can do it? You know, as a wife, like, okay, like we're going to spend this money. Do I think he can complete it and get something out of it? You know? So I think sometimes as a wife, you need to take a little risk, you know, take a little risk and just trust your partner financially and just back them up, either, you know, him or me, whatever way it goes. You know, sometimes you just have to just go with it. And it, like I said, if it's something self-help, you know, it's not like you're going out drinking at the bars. You're actually, you know, trying to help your future. So it's hard to say no to that.
That's freaking awesome. That's powerful stuff. And that's just trust is what you said. You just trust them and believe in them. And, but I saw what you did there. You're a little sneaky one, because he said this, you're like, well, what would you think if I went to a 3-day spa? So you're already like planting the seed, like, well, if you're doing this, I'm going to do my own shit too. And I'm going to live it up at the spa. I hope you enjoyed that spa.
Yep.
It was your excuse to go spend a bunch of money too. I like it. Smart.
But I actually never went. So he owes me one.
Oh, you tell me he owes you that shit, then he owes you it. So let me ask you this, and this might never have been the situation. Maybe it was. We need to get into the personal side of it. But let's just say at that point in time, you and him were not really seeing eye to eye on things. You were struggling in your marriage. You weren't having a great relationship. You didn't have that whole trust level there. You were fighting over things. Just say at that point, and he came to you and said, I'm going to do this thing, or I wanted this thing, is $12,000. Do you think you would be a little more resistant to it if you weren't really, say, on good terms with him? Because that's what we get a lot too, that they're coming to us because they're having struggles in their relationships with their wives. And then they know they need to do something about it because they're really like on the verge of almost divorce, like literally, sometimes even going through the process. And then they go to their wife, who they're about to have a divorce with, who are like fighting with, like killing each other every day, and asking for kind of permission to go do this. Do you think you'd have a different thought on it then and probably wouldn't go smooth?
So what I would tell the wives that, like, you know, we're, you know, not in a good place with their husbands, is what they don't know is there is a lot of classroom time. I don't know if there's a lot, but I know there's classroom time, which I didn't know before. And I don't know what goes on in that classroom time, but I know that it's a lot of growth, learning, and expression, pretty much. So it's not like you're just, you know, digging in the mud and climbing, you know, mountains and all this other stuff. Like, there's actual lessons being learned and breakthroughs happening that if the wives knew, like if I knew that prior to Ryan asking me, I would have been like, well, you know what, maybe it's like a guy's way of, you know, almost like therapy. You know what I mean? I think, like I said, a lot of this we didn't know before. So I think that maybe if the wives knew that, like, that were struggling in their marriage before, like, hey, you know what, it could be a little bit of therapy. Maybe something's, you know, holding him back or bothering him, that he can kind of talk to the guys, you know, about in the class or whatever it is. So I think that's one key thing that I think if the wives knew before that were, you know, struggling in their marriage, you know, it's actually going to help your marriage in a way that you don't even realize.
Oh man, that is just awesome stuff. Like, we're men, we don't even know, like, I've never been to any therapy, but I know a lot of men that have, and I know it took them like years to even say hello to the therapist, right? They just sit there. we're knuckle draggers. We're cavemen. That's where we're savages. We don't know how to express our feelings, and we don't know how to communicate and talk. We just grunt and growl, and that's what we do. So I thinking that that's the way that men need therapy. That's such a freaking awesome way to think of it from your perspective. Like, and that's exactly what it is. Even when they show up, they don't know what to expect, and their guard is up. Their guard is up. They have that shield around. That's what we do. We're men. We have that barrier around us. It's like a turtle with that hard outer shell, but really inside, they're just soft, little, mushy humans. And what we need to do is we have those breakdowns. We break them down a specifically very methodical process so that we can have the breakthroughs in the classroom time. And that's why once we get to that classroom time, it's like they've had enough. They're been broken down so much that they're completely vulnerable and open, and they're having discoveries and aha moments. So it is a massive form of a type of therapy. I don't want to say we're therapists because we are far from therapists.
But I think, like I said, a lot of the women or people, even the candidates, they don't even realize like there's classroom time and, stuff like that going on. So I think if there is an issue in the marriage or something, I do think that the classroom time, even if they don't talk about something specifically between your marriage, if they talk about something in the past that's holding them back from making your marriage better, whatever it is, that will come out in the project, and then it makes them a better man to be married to.
Yeah, 100%. And we do get to a deep level, both in their personal lives, professional lives, in business, but yeah, even in the past and childhood, we go real deep. And the only way to get that deep with a man is to just beat the hell out of him first. That's really the only way to do it. That's all. That's all we respond to. We don't know any better. That's like just the way we are.
True. It's true.
That's awesome that you said as like a form of therapy. 100% is. So then also then from this other perspective, because I'm loving the way that you're looking at this. Let's say you were in that same kind of clashing heads as the spouse, and you're really not having a great relationship at the time, and you're really struggling in your relationship and in your marriage. And he went without telling you and signed up for this thing, $12,000, because really most of the men, their wives hate them at the point that they're signing up. So they go to talk to them, right? And the wife's like, hell no, you're not going to boot camp. You're crazy if you do that. I'm leaving you or something, because they're already on bad terms. So they can't even bring it up to him. What if he went and just did it and signed up for it and came to you after he signed up and said, you know what, I signed up for this men's personal development program because I know we're struggling, and I'm going to do this, and wait till you see the man that I'm going to come back as a better husband, a better father, a better leader to our family, a better communicator. And I'm going to come back learning how to talk to you, learning how to think a little bit differently, learning how to approach our life so that we can live the way we've always wanted to live. And I could be the man that you deserve and always wanted. Would you? What would your reaction be to that? If you were already pissed at him and he's telling you that, but this is why he did it after he already spent the money without even letting you know.
Yeah. Well, it actually depends on my mood, I guess.
Oh, you women and your moods. Oh,
I know. I mean, at first I think, every person, even if, your wife came to you and said, I spent this much money into this, you'd be a little discouraged. But I think after the explanation, and I think that, the candidates should educate their spouses on that it's not just like a mud rucksack thing. It's not like a, rolling in the mud thing. I think to really sit them down and, read through the paperwork and what they, I know you can't say exactly what they're going to expect because they don't know, but kind of, on social media now, you can read a lot of you guys that you post a lot of stuff that's being done and why. I think educating them, I mean, would I still be kind of upset, pissed? Yeah, probably. But if it's to better the family, I just don't know why anyone would. But besides the fact is like, my thought is like, you can't tell a man, what to do, especially with his own money. I know it might affect your family in the long run, but like financially, but actually it's going to affect your family even better. And it just spills over if you just invest in yourself, and maybe there's something for your wife to do for herself that you can both do. I mean, I don't think there's anything for women out there. When he first told me about it, I was like, oh, do they have this for girls? And he's like, no. But like maybe there's something out there for women to do, to help them out in their own way. I don't know. But again, like, I don't think you can tell a man what to do, especially with his money. And I think, like if you are on the verge of getting a divorce, just try this last thing and see if it
100%.
works. What is it going to hurt if it's already going down the tubes,
Exactly. Nice. Good way of putting it. I appreciate you taking all those different perspectives and different role playing of the different scenarios. I know those are some tough questions, but that's awesome. So now let's go back to your specific situation. When he came to you, told you about this, the pillars of the project are the family, fitness, finances, and faith. Faith meaning more on self-confidence and belief in yourself, belief in your abilities to reach your goals in those other family, fitness, and finances. So out of those, in what areas do you think that from your perspective, where did you see that he needed the most growth or leveling up or was really struggling the most in, from your perspective, that you were like, yeah, this is going to help you in this area?
I don't know what area specifically. I do know with my husband, he's a quiet guy. He doesn't usually say much. Even if he has something to say, he will hold back. So he's really smart. He's a lot smarter than he thinks he is, but he's really smart. So I think people take advantage of him because he's quiet and he doesn't speak up for himself. And he kind of lets people roll all over him a little bit. And I don't know what category that would fall in, but he needed something to light a fire under him and I don't know if this is going to sound, I don't know the right word, but get aggressive, get more confidence. Because
that's the word there, confidence.
Yeah, get more confidence. I guess. Yeah. He needed something because as a child, he never had anyone push him to do anything. Like, so if he wanted to, if he was playing baseball, he wanted to quit, his parents would be like, okay, or, whatever it is. So he never had someone that was like, no, you're finishing the season. You're going to, he never had that. So I thought for him, like, this is going to be awesome. Like, if anything, it's going to push him to show him how strong he is mentally and physically. And hopefully that will bring him back confidence. I didn't realize it was going to bring back a whole new person almost, new and improved person. In facets of all those areas that you spoke about, have gone to like a level 10. And I have to say, they've pretty much been that level. He continues to self-improve. It's not overnight. Like, it's not the 75 hours. You're just going to be a different person and stay that way. You have to continue to grow. And for me, he's definitely made more time. So we have, since he came back from the project, we've had date night every week. We made that a priority because we have we had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old when he went in. So we made it a priority to make time for us. And it went so well. We have baby number 3 on the way. So there's that.
So he needed, let me rewind a second. Hold on. So you thought he needed to be, I think you said the word aggressive and a little tougher maybe. And that would all fall into faith for 100%. The confidence, each needed more of a manly, savage type man that he was capable of being of. And that also falls into courage. Courage would also fall into the faith category also. Faith, we're not talking about necessarily religion. We're talking about faith in yourself, self-confidence, not letting people push you around, not letting people take advantage of you. So you saw that he needed that. And then you say he's kind of quiet. And I'll tell you what, he's not quiet anymore. He was in Vegas. He was just a wild man. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fine.
But I want to now go back to this. So when he went there, what was the age of your children when he went to the project?
My son was 2 and my daughter was like 3 months.
So he went for 4 days or even more because the day before he did like travel time. Mm-hmm. So close to a week with a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, 3-month-old. How did you possibly survive? And you're still here to tell a story about it when you had to do that all by yourself as a poor, weak woman. That's because this is what the men, they give their excuses for that. Oh, I have a 2-year-old that runs around like crazy. I can't come to the project. Or I have a newborn. I can't come to the project. Or my wife is pregnant. I can't come to the project. Or how did you manage that?
Yeah. It was, what I did? he wanted this so bad for himself, and I wanted it for him too. And I sucked it up. I just sucked it up, and I just said, you know what, it won't be that bad. I'll just try and make the best of it, even though, I was like flipping out on the kids sometimes, but I made the best of it. And it if you want someone to be a better person for you and your family, then, they're going to sacrifice going and getting, who knows what's going to happen to them, because you really don't know, class 004, you didn't really know, and sacrificing their body and like, who knows what else for your family to try and be a better person. Then I can sacrifice a couple of days, for my family, for my husband, to do that. And it wasn't easy, but I did it. Just like the project isn't easy, but you do it and you just get through it and you suck it up. So I guess that's what I did. I don't know.
You suck it up and sacrifice. I like it. I like it. Awesome stuff. You're freaking awesome. So since he's now been back a year, what was some of the immediate changes that you saw, like when he first came home right away? Because some of the things he can implement right away, like date night, he could do that right away. So what were some of the immediate changes? And now we're a year later. Is that still there? Is that fire still lit? Or because, people go to a motivational seminar and they're all rah, rah, rah. They're hugging and high-fiving people and jumping up and down and screaming and shouting. And they go home back to their boring, miserable lives afterwards. And it doesn't have any lasting effect. So, well, obviously he did come back the manly man you were looking for, because we have now baby number 3 on the way. So we're all good here. But what was some of the immediate changes that you saw when he came home? And now what was the lasting effect now that you have a year? So that's like a lot of data and information coming from you.
Mm-hmm. So I remember getting him off the airport and he looked like hell. I was like, oh my God, what happened to you? But you know what? He was so excited to just tell me, all that I missed. Or as much as he could tell me, because I know some of the stuff he can't talk about, so as much as he could tell me. So, but just to tell you the truth, like, once he kind of ate some food and got some sleep, it's going to sound stupid, but just the way he walks, the way he speaks, the confidence he has. I noticed that, his big thing when he came home was trim the fat. So, some of the relationships he had with people that were, I don't want to say using him, but not treating him like, a friend should. Mm-hmm. He, put no effort into those and just let them, very nicely dissipate. They just go away when you're not letting someone stand all over you, or just, not mm-hmm. going with the flow, actually speaking up. And then the relationships he had that were good ones have just gotten even better. And he's focused more on those, those people that will help you level up and like are in the same kind of headspace as you. Mm-hmm. So his relationships, not just, with me as his wife, but his friendships, even his employees. They've told me they've noticed a difference. Wow, Ryan is just like, everything about him is just, he oozes confidence. Now when he has great ideas for work and stuff, he's not afraid to like, just even speak about them or even just start implementing them, mm-hmm. Which is like huge. Cause since he's been doing that, he's like skyrocketed at work. It's insane. So
it's had a financial effect on him also.
I'm telling you right now, huge. Like crazy financial effect. I would pay for the project double for him to go back, for him to get everything that he has gotten just in this year out of it, and what he's going to continue to get. I would pay double. Family, with our kids, like my son's 3, my daughter's 2, but we've already started implementing stuff that he learned from the project with our kids, and they're little, so obviously we scale it down for them, but we already are implementing stuff that they need to learn, how to treat people, how to speak to people, how to act, how to be confident. My son's little, but he loves sports and like he gets really down on himself. So we're working on that. And fitness, he could be doing better in fitness, but I guess so could I. But he tries to make time, and he can make more time. But
I've been on him that lately. Don't worry, he's going to be making time for fitness. I'm going to make sure of it.
I know. He's been telling me.
Talk to him today about it. He's going to be on it. He has no choice now. So
I was like, maybe we should get some done. He needs to go to the gym. But anyways, so so all those categories, and it's not just about the family too, like the friendships I've been telling you about, and at work, the relationships at work have just really become really strong, and at work, he is a leader, and he speaks like a leader, and he isn't, like shy anymore. He's not like a mean, aggressive guy. He's not aggressive, but he's very well-spoken, and now he's not afraid to speak, which is awesome.
That is freaking awesome.
Sometimes I want to tell him, don't talk, but it's fine. Like,
out of everything you've said, so many huge nuggets that just he came back with, and all of those are huge. The one that stands out to me the most out of everything you just said, which is to me the most important one, is the impact he's having on your kids as like the role model that they need, right? He's becoming the man that your son is going to one day want to become, and the type of man that one day your daughter is going to want to marry. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. That's just freaking priceless right there. You couldn't even put a price tag on that. And that's the one that stands out to me the most of everything you just said.
100%. Like, yeah. I mean, I feel like, we need to create or breed or raise, especially girls too. We need to raise them, better than, some of these kids now, because, they need a backbone. This world it's a crazy place. So, you need to be able to be tough and suck it up and, learn lessons and figure it out. And I think he's definitely starting that at a young age.
I love it. Just suck it up. I like it. Spreading it off to them too. Good stuff. Mm-hmm. And you've already kind of answered this, but just even to go a little deeper into it, it's now a year later. So another thing that spouses, wives will tell the men is, no, you're not paying $12,000 for just a 75-hour course. And you've already kind of alluded to it, how it is much more and how it is ongoing. How much is it? Like, you're a year later. That's a long time for a course that he came for only 4 days here to California a year ago. How is that still impacting him literally to this day, if at all? Maybe it's not. So where is he at right now when it comes to it?
So I'll tell you, I'm sure people could do the project and never, never go back to any of the guys or, the social media stuff that you do, or the whatever, like all the private groups that you guys have and everything like that. I'm sure people could probably spend that money and never utilize the after education and camaraderie that you guys have. And that would be a real shame if someone did that. Ryan's all about too. He learned at the project giving back. So he was a cadre, last month he was a cadre. So he made it a point to, leave the house, get work off and go, help the project and give back to you guys. He also made a point to go out to Vegas to meet you guys, that once a year thing you guys do. Mm-hmm. If you want to continue to get something out of the project, you have to stay connected. And that's mostly on you, because there's guys that are just going to keep connecting with each other. And if you don't jump in, you'll be left behind. So I think giving back, staying connected is going to continue to catapult my husband, or your husband, not yours, anyone's husband, to leveling up and just being a better person and staying at that level, and like how you said, not dropping down. Mm-hmm. So I think, the staying connected part is huge at continuing to utilize that $12,000 that you spent. Well, you can stretch it out if you stay connected. There's great things that you guys put on for these guys and great content that they get, and they get a lot out of it. So, that's what I think. So
now I want to rewind again. So a year ago, you had a newborn and a 2-year-old, and he left for a week. Mm-hmm. And then again, like 8 months later or however long, he came back as a junior instructor. So that's another week. And you're now with those 2 kids again. And then just like last month or a couple of weeks ago, he came to Vegas for 3 days, or 2 days, which is a 4-day thing. Mm-hmm. And now you have the 2 kids and you're pregnant too. And he's done these 3 trips pretty much within a year, really, all 3 of those trips for the project in a year.
Yeah, actually.
And you had no problem with that.
I believe so much in the project and in you instructors, that I would never say no if he asked me to go and give back to you guys or to connect with you guys. I would never say no. At this point, it's given way too much to my family, to us, and the project means a lot to us. You know, I feel like I'm one of the, I feel like you guys are my guys. I watch you guys on, the social media, and I feel like I know all you guys. So, it's a huge part of our family. Like I said, even our children, and I would never tell him not to continue to give back or continue to connect, to keep leveling himself up, and maybe even, helping other people in the project, goes both ways. So, yeah.
That is freaking awesome stuff. I mean, you couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said this stuff better. And the funny thing is, we just met literally 30 seconds before we started recording this for the first time ever. We've never even spoke. And it's just awesome to hear it. And this just continues every time I speak to anyone that knows about the project or is related to someone that's done the project. This just continues to validate why the impact that the project is having. To hear it from such powerful words from you from the other side of the picture, it's just freaking awesome. So I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of interviewing the project spouses. And if you or Ryan need anything, ever reach out 24 hours a day. You have a massive army all over the country, all over the world, that is a support system to you. So just know that you have a full team and a full family here at all times.
That's awesome. And thank you guys for all you do too. I know you guys take time away from your family and friends and stuff like that. So we appreciate what you guys do too.
Awesome. So we'll wrap this up. Christina Meggison, you are freaking awesome. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and speak with me about this. And women out there, men out there, if you're seeing this and you're watching this, just send me a message or just click the link around this video, and we can jump on the phone and talk about if this is the right program for your husband. If you're a woman seeing this, you probably can find the areas that you think your husband could use improvement in. There's nothing wrong with that. You just heard Christina talking about it, just straightforward. She saw what he needed, what he's going to get out of it. So if you have any questions, let's jump on the phone. You can send this information over to your husband. We'll jump on the phone, see if he's a good fit for the program. We will get him rolling. And I guarantee you 100% that the project will completely transform and change his life in all areas of family, fitness, finances, and faith. Christina, I will talk to you soon. Tell Ryan I said what's up. Thanks for joining me. You are freaking awesome, and no excuses.
Thank you.